Hello and welcome once again. In this video we're going to look at how we go about adjusting the due dates for the modules and assignments that we have downloaded. We begin by going to the individual assignments within the modules. On the left hand vertical menu we select modules, and that brings us to our modules page on our Canvas site. So we notice then that the assignments for this week 1 have no due dates associated with them. To set the due date, you would then select the assignment itself, and then once that assignment is open, you would select the edit option, and then once that edit option is selected, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you have this box dealing with the assignment. So you're going to assign it to everyone, or however your class is set up, and then using this calendar option you would then scroll through and set the appropriate due date. Now what you notice also is when you use this option, by default the time is set at 11:59 p.m. If you want a different time, and then you would have to go in there and edit that individually. Another option you have is to when do you want it to be available. You may or may not want that to be available. I generally, for many of the assignments, I leave that blank. On some of them I put them in. And then you have the other next option, which is until. So in essence you can set this option to allow for late submissions. Like for an example here, I have set this so that the student can complete this assignment anytime until the last day of the class. Now you can set yours whichever you want to, and let's say that you wanted to set it at 1 week beyond what the due date is, and that's fine. Okay, all right, so those are those options right there, and then once that is accomplished you hit the save button. Now go back to the modules page. Now you'll notice then that the module 1 that we just set the due date on, there is now a due date associated with that module or that assignment. Now how about a more efficient way? How can we set those a number of due dates much more efficiently? In order to accomplish that, you would go over to this option which says assignments. Now one of the things that you'll notice is the assignments is you have all these imported assignments, though that's the default folder that it's going to go into. So we would then, to bulk or set a number of assignments at the same time, you would select the options over here on the top right hand side which says assignment settings, and then you would select edit assignment dates. And in this instance right here, what happens is that now you have all of the assignments. You see the one that we've already set, but here are all the rest of the assignments then that have been downloaded onto your page. So what I then can do is, let's go about setting these much more efficiently than going through and editing one at a time. You begin by selecting one of your assignments, and this one here, the due date is October 2nd. The next thing that you would do then is highlight this entire date, and then you would go Control Copy, and then everywhere that same assignment, every date that another assignment is doing that same date, you just hit Control V. Now we know that module number 2 is due the next week, so you can just scroll through over, hit the next week, Control Copy, and then Control V, and everywhere that you see that. Now a bit of a shortcut, we go to the next week, Module 4, Control V, and we just go 1 week more, Control Copy, Control V. So then you would go through and adjust those for all of your assignments. And now I have all of the due dates set. You would then select Save. What I like to do then is, once that is updated and saved, go and hit the refresh button up on the top left hand corner and go back and let's verify that our assignments are set properly. At this point here, now all the assignments will be set out chronologically. That's a really simple way of checking your work. Another way of checking your work in this regard, you go back to the home page and then you would select syllabus. And so now all of those assignments are now set out according to the due dates. And this is a very efficient way of checking that. Now one more thing while we're still here on the assignments aspect. Let's go back to assignments, edit assignment dates. Now depending upon what your policy is, now my policy is that I allow late submissions, and so I will set the late submissions for the last day of the term. Control Copy, and then Control V. You just go through and you will copy that value into each one of those available until fields. And then once that's all done, you hit saved, and it is now updating all of those values. Now in the event that you don't want to make them available, or you don't want to have late submissions are allowed, that's your prerogative in terms of your course policies. So what you would do then is you would just go and then edit each one of these available till to make it the same as the due date. All right, so that's how you go about establishing your due date.